Okay,
Okay.
we are recording. Thank you. All right. Do you want to start?
Okay, so we want to welcome you, those who are here already. If you know anything about me, you know that I love to start on time. I don't believe I should wait for persons who are late because if we keep starting on time, then those who are late will make the effort to be on time. So we welcome those who are here already, and we just want to remind you that if you missed last week, well, at least to tell you, if you missed last week, and I guess we'll remind you again at the end, the information has been uploaded to our Facebook page, DRD Natural Health. And we are also going to be putting the information on YouTube.
Yes.
So by Sunday, you should have last week's and this week's recording on YouTube as well, for those who may have missed the information. And again, we want to offer or tell you about our free offer, a 15-minute free consultation that we're offering to anyone who can answer the questions we will ask at the end.
Yes.
So make sure you are listening and you will be able to answer the question that we will ask. Okay? Yeah. All right. So last week we told you that our topic would be
I can't live without me.
I can't live without you.
Me?
No, you. Whoever
That's
you
me.
is. But remember that whatever the topic is, we are talking about health, okay? So we're not thinking anything else but health. I spoke to someone this week and she said, oh, I will listen to last week's program, but I'm not sure I'm interested in the topic for this week. So I had to quickly say it's health. You know?
Not about Donisha.
No, it's not about an individual. It's health. Okay. So before we continue, I just wanna let you know that in the chat, for those who don't know, if you want to use the chat, then you can go to it shows up at the bottom. Then you can just click on the where you see chat, and or for some people it might be 3 dots, and then click on chat, and you can put the information in that section. If you want to raise your hand, then you click on the two people, the two persons that are there. You click on that, and when you click on it, then you will be able to raise your hand. You will see the option to raise your hand. So that's how, just those two information, because you may need to use them as we continue. All right.
Okay.
So use your fingers and tell us in the chat, what do you think we will be talking about this evening? Yeah. I can't live without you. What is it that we cannot live without?
So let's see your answers.
Okay, okay.
Someone says water.
All right.
That's a good one. Anything else?
What is it that you can't live without? I
Fresh
can't.
air.
Fresh air.
Fresh air, okay.
Yes, very good.
Someone
Good
says
health. Yeah. Wow.
Sunlight, exercise.
You guys are smart. Very
The
smart.
8 laws.
The 8 laws.
Just put them all together.
That covers them all. The 8 laws. Well. We thought of all of those and many more.
Yeah.
However, tonight's
let
topic
me do a drum roll.
Dun, 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 dun. It is said that we can live so many hours without, we can't live without fresh air for so long. We can't live without water for so long.
The
But
suspense.
for this one, we can live up to 6 weeks.
I
6 weeks
guess.
or something like that without this one. So do you want to take a guess now? Just one last guess?
Food.
Food. Food. Who was that? Ah,
Okay.
I know who that is. Okay, food. So this evening we are talking about food.
Someone said mango.
Mango, mango. Oh, please don't get us started. Mango. Wow. We all love food, and I'm sure I love food. You love food. All of us. We might not like the same thing, but
Yeah.
all of us love some kind of food.
Okay, what's your favorite food?
Oh boy.
She's gonna say she loves everything and she's not
Yeah.
picky.
That is very true. That's so true. But
Pick one thing.
cornmeal porridge.
Okay,
I love porridge, any kind of porridge, but cornmeal is my favorite.
that's your favorite.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Should I share my favorite?
Yeah. Go
Okay,
ahead.
okay. So guys, my mom makes the most
Your
amazing.
favorite. Oh.
Let me finish, please. She makes the most amazing cornmeal pudding. Oh, it's so good. And then after that, I love bananas and cashews, and I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine.
So I'm gonna assume that Leon loves mango. What is your favorite food? What is it that you love, dearly love?
Green banana.
Oh, she said banana.
Banana.
Yes.
Okay. Banana.
Yeah. When
Anyone else?
you do lentils on one pot.
Ah.
That's right. She loves banana, and she cooks it with lentils in one pot. No one else? Okay, you guys don't
Maybe
like
they don't
food?
need.
Oh boy. Dumplings.
Bernadette says fried dumplings or boiled dumplings.
Very good. Very good. That's Bernadette loves fried dumplings or boiled dumplings. Yes.
Yes.
That's right. Okay. All right. So, thank you for giving us those answers. Prince loves mango, fruits, breadfruit, plantain, everything. That's someone who is not picky.
All right. So as we get into the presentation, please remember to mute your devices and we'll just get straight into it. So why do we eat? Why do we eat? Can you just type a one line answer in the chat? Why do you think we eat? Why do we need food? You know, is it just for entertainment? You know, do we only need to eat, you know,
because we're hungry?
Yeah, or when there's a lot of people over, oh, I need to cook like this fancy meal. Why do we need food? Why do we eat? To live.
Nutrition.
Bernadette says to survive. Mitzi says nourishment, to grow, for sustenance. That's Enrica. And so those are really good answers. You know, we need food for life, right? Our cells need food. Our body needs food. And when we eat the food, what do we get? Energy, right?
Nutrients.
Energy, nutrients. You know, a lot of our fruits also have water and vitamins and minerals. So all these things combined are there to help us to achieve good health. And that's our main goal. We want health. We want to be able to live healthy and happy lives. And so the food that we eat, right, it can either be for our benefit or to our detriment. And so we want to eat food that's only going to benefit us. We don't want to just think, oh, this tastes good, or this makes me feel good, or you know, just eating for entertainment just because I have it or I can buy it. we really sometimes we have to change our thinking around food. So everything that we eat, we should be thinking, is this making me better? Is this gonna heal me? Or is this gonna set me back? So these are just some of the things we want to think about as we are moving forward in this discussion on food.
All right. So that was why do we eat, but when should we eat?
Ooh.
No, I know that a lot of people, and even they are told by, medical people in the medical field that they should eat small meals.
Mhm.
So breakfast, then a
A
small
snack.
meal, yeah, snack, then
Mhm.
lunch, then another snack, and then
dinner,
dinner,
and then
then
a
another.
snack.
So that's
Mhm.
6 small meals for the day. Now, I want you to let me know, is that good for us? Is that good for our bodies, and why? Is that how we should eat? Should we be eating 6 small meals for the day?
Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, not at all.
No, no
No.
way.
Okay. Okay. So how many meals should we eat per day? It depends, right? Okay. So let's look at it. We should have set times to eat.
Mhm.
Why is that? Why should we have set times to eat?
Well, for the first thing, our body loves regularity, right? So our body loves to wake up the same time every day, go to bed the same time every day, eat the same time every day. We work on a clock. The sun comes up and it goes down, the moon comes up and it goes down. So our body has this rhythm, right? And it works best when we work within those parameters of that rhythm.
Right.
So it's good for us to eat at set times every day. And it also has to do with it also influences the production of our digestive enzymes. So when you eat at a set time every day, let's say you have lunch at like 1 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, your body is
Every day.
expecting food.
That's right.
Right? So sometimes your stomach starts burning, or you start salivating, or you get a headache because your body's saying, okay,
It's time for food.
this is the normal time we eat every day.
Yeah.
So I need food right now, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need to try and have our meals 5 to 6 hours apart.
Mhm.
And when we do that, we have digestion taking place.
Yeah.
And our body gets to rest. The digestive organs will have some time to rest before we introduce a second meal into the stomach.
Exactly.
So we don't want to be eating a lot of small meals, because the meals that we eat, all those little small meals, they will not digest properly. Digestion stops once you introduce new food into the stomach.
Yeah.
And therefore, that's not good for you. You will end up being bloated or gassy, or you're belching. Farty. And all of that happens when we eat a lot of small meals.
Yeah. So we want to give our stomach time to rest, like you said.
Yes.
And there's something that I want to share with you all. They did a study on the retention time. So how long does the food stay in the stomach, right? And they wanted to see how much percent of that food was in the stomach based on the different times. So you eat the meal, right? Half an hour after, and this was in females, right? So half an hour after eating the meal, there was 90% of the food still left in the stomach. Mm-hmm. After 1 hour, there was 65% of the food left in the stomach. After an hour and a half, 41%. After 2 hours, 19%. After 3 hours, 4%. And after 4 hours, there was 1% of food left in the stomach. So it took all that time for all the food to leave the stomach and go into the intestines. And then after the imagine you're working for 4 hours. Like typically when you go to work, you get a break, right? Yeah. So the stomach's like,
it's
woo, I've just done so much work. I need a break.
But guess what? If you're eating certain types of protein, it takes even longer for the food to leave the stomach. So it shows you that if after 2 hours you still have 19% left in the stomach, then that 19% is going to sit there if you introduce new food into the stomach, and it will not digest, because before the next, when it gets to the next 19%, new food is introduced again.
So it'll have to start
over again. And that food stays there and it putrefies, or it rots. And that is when you have stinky gas and stinky
farts,
poos,
burping,
and all of that
stomach ache,
happens
abdominal
when
pain.
you're eating too often.
So someone says, doesn't it depend, Mitzi says, doesn't it depend on what was eaten? So in this study, they actually gave them rice. It was rice and eggs. So carbs and protein. So yes, it does depend on what you eat, but based on what we're gonna learn today, we wanna eat balanced meals. We don't wanna be eating, snacks every now and then, because obviously if you eat a snack, you're going to be hungry in an hour,
right?
And we don't want you. Snacking is not thriving. You're not staying healthy eating snacks. We want you to be eating healthy foods that will allow your blood sugar to be balanced for that entire time, so that you can be full and satisfied longer.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's correct. So yes, if you have fruits only, like for breakfast, a lot of people will have a toast and a cup of tea. Of course, in 2 hours they're gonna be hungry. But as you rightly mentioned, if you have a balanced meal for breakfast, then that will not happen in 2 hours. Okay. All right.
So now let's move on to, so we already asked the question, how often should we eat? And we said, 2 to 3 times a day. Now, this will depend on your lifestyle. So do you have a sedentary lifestyle? Are you working really hard, doing a lot of manual labor or construction work during the day? So obviously, based on those things, one person might need to eat more food than the other, right? But we still want to ensure that there's still that 5 to 6 hour gap between each meal, right? So if you were to eat 2 meals a day, actually, no, let's, if someone would like to volunteer and share with us what time they have breakfast and what are your meal times? Let's start with that. What are your meal times? If you would like to share with us, and let's see if, we're following this principle of eating, and allowing 4 to 5 hours or even 5 to 6 hours between meals. Okay, so Bernadette says
7 a.m. Okay, that's good. As you enter your meal times, also let us know when you go to bed. Put that in as well. Yes. What time do you go to bed? So Bernadette has breakfast at 7, lunch at 1. And Bernadette, do you have another meal? And what time do you go to bed?
She says no dinner.
Okay. And what time do you go to bed? And what time? Okay, she goes to bed at 10 p.m. All right. So if we look at the Bernadette's eating habits, she has breakfast at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So let's count 5 to 6 hours between her meal. That's 7 a.m. I'm gonna assume that she finishes at 7:30. So 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, and she eats at 1.
Yeah.
So that's 5.5 hours after her first meal. She's having her second meal, right? Now, if Bernadette eats at 1 and finishes at 1:30, she could choose to have a third meal if she is doing, manual work. She could choose to have a third meal. She would need to have that third meal like at 6 o'clock and finish eating by 6:30, because she goes to bed at 10. So that's perfect, because by the time she gets to bed, her stomach is empty.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing that we want to ensure is that your stomach is empty when you go to bed, right?
Yeah.
Not that you're dying of hunger.
Mm-hmm.
And if that is the case, then a cup of cold water will take care of that.
Yeah.
That's the only time we encourage you to have cold water is when
Mm-hmm.
you're very hungry and you're going to go to bed.
Yeah.
Then you can have the cold water, and the cold water will stop the hunger feeling. So in Bernadette's case, Bernadette could choose to have a third meal. Now, if someone is having their first meal at 8 or 8:30,
Mm-hmm.
then it's more difficult for them to have 3 meals for the day, right?
Yeah.
Because when you count the 5 to 6 hours,
Mm-hmm.
for the second meal, you're not gonna get 5 to 6 hours for a third meal.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty. So we just talked about how often we're gonna eat, but we also mentioned a little bit about eating between meals. So like we said before, if digestion takes a certain amount of time, you don't want to be introducing new food because that's going to disrupt the digestive process, right? So even water, right? We don't want to drink water too soon after eating because it can dilute your digestive enzymes. And also, your body has to digest the water first. So we want to drink our water before we eat up to and stop about half an hour before we eat, right? And then after we're done eating, wait about 1.5 to 2 hours before introducing water again.
Okay, Sandra mentioned that water before bed will keep her up at nights.
Mm-hmm.
And that will happen to most people. So we
Yeah.
usually encourage that you stop drinking your water like around 6 o'clock. But in this case, we wouldn't want you drinking an entire glass of water. You can take 2 or 3 mouthfuls of that cold water, and that shouldn't keep you up at night because you're not drinking a whole lot of water, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I would also add to that. I know my mom said 6 o'clock, but if at 6:30 you're thirsty,
Oh, yeah.
please drink water.
Yeah.
But remember, we're sipping the water as well, right? We're not gulping it down. So you can sip the water. And if you notice that if you drink water at 6:30 and it doesn't wake you up at night,
Mhm.
then that can
That's
be your
okay.
cutoff,
Yeah.
right? Or even 7. So even though we're giving recommendations, you also want to work with your body and see what works, right? For me, I can drink water up to 8 o'clock and I'm fine, right? So just see what works for
Okay.
you. Mm-hmm.
All right. So how should we eat? There are times when we're eating on the go.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, there were times when I would eat on the train going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are times when I was eating at my desk at work. So I'm
Mhm.
working, I'm putting something in my mouth, and
Yeah.
I'm still working. And that's my entire lunch that I would eat sitting at my desk. Is
Mhm.
that what we're supposed to be doing? And the counsel is that we should eat slowly, with cheerfulness, with a
Mhm.
heart filled with gratitude, and
Wow.
giving thanks to God for all his blessings.
Mhm.
In addition to that, we are supposed to chew the food thoroughly.
Yes.
I remember hearing someone, it's a friend of ours, Hazel, saying, she was the first person I heard with it. I guess she heard it somewhere, but she said, drink your solid and chew your liquid. So that means everything that is solid that goes into my mouth, I need to chew it until it becomes liquid.
Mm-hmm.
And when I put liquid in my mouth, I should still chew on it before I swallow it,
Yeah.
because again, it mixes with the enzymes that we have in our mouths.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
So if you eat as a family, then that's very good. And you have light conversations,
Mm-hmm.
nothing exciting, nothing
Yeah.
that will get your heart racing.
Yeah.
You eat slowly. Now, if you are hurrying, then it's best that you drink something than
Mhm.
eat
Yeah.
something, because then that does not go well with the digestion.
Mm-mm. Okay. So, what should we eat? Let's get into that. We touched.
Yeah, before you get to that, Mitzi, we'll come to your question in a little bit, or your comment. Okay.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So we touched a little bit on what we should eat last week, but just to go over it again, because it is important for us to know what we're gonna eat to sustain us and to ensure that we're not hungry or having to eat in between meals.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to start with our fruits. And so when we think about fruits, we're thinking about something that has a seed in it, right? So typically we think of, our apples, our
Or
grapes,
mangoes.
yeah, our mangoes for, I think it was Leon that said mangoes, and even our peppers and our tomatoes are fruits because they have a seed inside, right? Cucumbers are fruits, squash, zucchini,
Mm-hmm.
pumpkin,
Pumpkins,
those are
yeah.
all fruits. And
I think a lot of people, it's easier to identify the sweet ones as
yeah,
fruits, and
yeah.
then we think anything else that's not sweet
Mm-hmm.
is vegetables.
Yeah.
But as you rightly said, once there is a seed in it,
Mm-hmm.
then that
Is
is
a
a fruit.
fruit. Yeah. Even squash is sweet. My mom planted some squash this summer. We even had one today and it was so sweet. So don't sleep on the squash. So how many servings of fruit should we be having every day?
We should try to have at least 3 to 5 servings every day.
Mm-hmm.
And a serving of
Yeah.
fruit is, for example, if you have a ripe banana and you can hold it like this, then it's 2 servings. But if it's longer
Yeah.
than holding it like this, then it's probably 3 servings. So you could have an apple, a big apple,
Yeah.
could be 2 servings,
yeah.
right? So you, for breakfast, usually you try to have your fruits at one meal and your vegetables at another meal. So if you're having your fruits at breakfast, you could have a ripe banana, which would be 2 servings, a small apple, that would be 3 servings, and if you have a bigger apple, then that could be 4 servings, right? So that's what you try to have at one meal.
Yeah. And then we all know our vegetables are important, our green leafy vegetables, but also we want to introduce some color. So our carrots and our beets and our cauliflower, these colors, or these colors come from the chemicals in the plants. They're called phytochemicals. And these chemicals are really good. They have antioxidant properties. They're filled with vitamins and minerals. They help our liver, and the fiber in the vegetables, like we talked about last week, fiber is so important in order to have a healthy digestive system. So exactly, it keeps us moving and going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So fiber, vegetables are really important, and we want to have 4 or more servings of our vegetables.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in addition to that, we need to have our grains and our legumes. And these, when we look at these, we're thinking rice, and a lot of times we think rice, right? There are a number of grains that I didn't know until a few years ago. So quinoa, millet. Oh, I remember someone giving me some buckwheat, and I'm like, oh, what is this? I had no idea what to do with it. I kept it for so long before I cooked it. And when I did cook it at first, I'm like, I'm not sure I like this taste.
That was me too. It took me a while to get used to buckwheat.
But now, oh wow, I love buckwheat.
It's really
I
good.
really love buckwheat now. Yeah, so those are some of the millet. When you talk about millet, a lot of people would say, "Oh, but that's bird feed." That's very nutritious, very nutritious for us. And we wanna mix those with our beans, or kidney beans, red peas, chickpeas, lentils, lima beans, black beans. All of them, all the different colors, as you mentioned, they have different properties in them. So we want to eat like a wide array of colors. And then we have our nuts and our seeds. And for a lot of people, nuts are seen as snack,
Yeah.
but it is not. It's food. And there's this lady that I was working with recently, and she said, "Oh, when I got to the point of nuts, she said, I loved almonds so much, but I cannot eat it anymore." And I said, "Why? When you're eating it, how do you eat it?" And she
Yeah.
said, "Oh, I just get a bag and I just keep eating until I'm full." And I'm like, okay, she hasn't had almonds in years.
Wow.
So I said to her, okay, um, I'm gonna ask you to go out and get some almonds and eat a handful.
Mm-hmm.
And when I talk to you again, you let me know.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, she ate the handful of almond and she's fine. She said,
Wow.
I cannot believe that, because she
Wow.
thought it was, it had turned against her and she couldn't eat it anymore. So remember, just my handful is different from Donisha's handful, from your handful. So remember, just a handful of nuts, and if you can get them raw and bake them yourself, that's perfect.
Yeah.
But just get your nuts and your seeds in. They're very good, and there's so many of them as well: pine nut, hazelnut, pistachio, walnuts, many different types and varieties that are out there.
Just something to add about the nuts too. So the nuts have something called phytic acid, right? So phytic acid is good. It's an antioxidant in small proportions. But when you eat a lot of it, like when you eat a lot of nuts, some people can react badly to it. It can cause abdominal pain and just turn people off from it. So that's why it's really important to have just a small amount of nuts at the end of the meal. And another thing we need to mention too is while you're having the fiber, lots of fiber from your plant foods, in order to be able to go, 5 to 6 hours without eating, you need to have protein with your meals, right? So proteins with your meals help to balance out your blood sugar levels, as well as having fat at the end of the meals, because that will allow the slow release of glucose into the blood. So when your glucose is being released slowly, then you won't be hungry in 2 or 3 hours, right? So let's just talk quickly about what a typical breakfast looks like for you.
For me, a typical breakfast might be different from a typical breakfast for.
Okay, let's talk about the food groups then that you have at breakfast.
Okay, so I do have carbs, I have protein, and I have fats, and of course, well, in my fruits I also have carbs as well. So breakfast could be a ripe banana and some blueberries, and some lentils, some stew lentils with maybe a waffle or on some buckwheat.
Yeah, and these are homemade waffles now.
Yeah, homemade waffles. And then I also have my almond at the end or cashew at the end of my meal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, you have your fruits, your protein, your fat, and
my carbs.
And your carbs, right?
Yeah.
And then what about your dinner?
My dinner, which is, so in my case, I have 2 meals. I have 2 meals for the day. My first meal is at 8 o'clock. My second meal is at 2 o'clock. And my second meal could be like today. Today we had a fruit meal.
Yeah.
And my meal today was the squash. And if you bake it, oh my, it is so
It's
sweet.
really
it's really nice. So we had squash, zucchini, and I had tofu and broad beans stew, and then I had some almond at the end of that meal.
That's
so
good.
Yeah, so that's what I had today.
Okay.
And usually I am not hungry again until tomorrow morning, which maybe I might just jump in now on Mitzi's point. She said, I work out in the mornings for 30 to 40 minutes, and at 4:30 to 6:30 for strength exercise. So I have fruits and peanut butter between meals for energy. She has lots of water, small amounts or no carbs, maintain protein, and mainly protein, vegetables, nuts, and grains. Okay, and she said, what do you think when the time is appropriate? Okay, what do you think?
Oh, and then
Now, Mitzi, I know Mitzi, and I know why Mitzi is doing her exercise routine. But if I were to comment as she has asked, then if you want to lose weight, then you really want to, okay, let me put it this way. When you wake in the mornings, Mitzi, and you go for your morning walk, it is your stored fat, that energy that you have stored up, that is keeping you. And therefore, if you have your meal as we're discussing, then you will realize that you will achieve your goal quicker than having small meals. Because if you disrupt digestion, then that food stays in your stomach, and you don't want to be having anything in between. 4:30 to 6:30, that's 2 hours. I'm not sure if you're saying that you exercise for 2 hours in the evenings. But if that's what you're doing, then that would be too long a time for you to be doing strength exercise. But the point I want to zero in on is the snacking, the eating in between. There, that would not be appropriate.
I think it would be good to have like a one-on-one conversation with Mitzi, because of course we want to look at her entire lifestyle. What is she doing throughout the entire day, right? Before we can, make certain recommendations. So that's what I would suggest. And to Mitzi, if you want to get in touch with mommy, I think that would be good.
Okay.
Enrica says, is it okay to have mixed nuts after the meal?
Um, it is okay to have mixed nuts for some people. Now, there are some people who are having stomach issues. Then if you're having stomach issues, and the reason why it's okay to have mixed nuts is because they're all in the same family, right?
Yeah.
So all the nuts are in the same family. However, if you're having stomach issues, then it's better that you keep it simple,
Yeah.
and just have one nut. So maybe almond in the morning, cashew in the evening. Tomorrow morning, you can have some pistachio and some hazelnut in the evening. And what I found out recently is that our body has there's a storage, there's a
amino acid storage, or something
yeah,
like that.
so you don't have to eat everything at one meal for your body to benefit from it, because it is in a pool. That's the word I was looking for. It's in a pool, and then everything will, all the nutrients. So one thing might need some of the other thing in order to balance it out. Then it stays in the pool until the rest of the nutrients are put in the pool as well.
The other thing we didn't mention is when you come, a lot of people are concerned about protein when you're eating plant-based, but you should remember that when you combine grains and beans or legumes, they become a complete protein. And there are complete plant protein sources. So like soy or hemp or even buckwheat is a complete
I
protein.
found out, I was
Spirulina.
surprised. Yeah.
There's so many, amaranth.
They're complete protein.
So
yes.
We just need to ensure that we're eating, the correct amount and getting what we need.
Right. And as you mentioned that too, if you don't want to have half of your plate of protein, right? You want to ensure that you have half of your plate of your fruits or your vegetables.
Yeah.
And then the other half, you can divide that in two, and so a quarter would be protein and a quarter would be carbs.
Your grains.
Yeah, which is yeah.
And we're talking about whole grains, right? So
yes,
your
whole
rice.
grains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do we do after we eat? Do we
Ah.
just, when you eat so much and you're just like, I just want to sleep.
Yeah, that's not the best thing to do.
Mhm.
The what we need to do after we eat is to take a digestive walk. That's not exercising now. That's a leisure walk where we are outside, we're getting the fresh air. This helps to balance out the sugar, and
Yeah.
and you don't have a spike in the blood sugar, especially if the person is diabetic. A digestive walk is the best thing for them.
How long would you?
10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah. So nothing long.
Nothing long and nothing aggressive, no exertion or
Yeah.
overexertion on that walk.
So we just want to talk quickly about some things that can go wrong, when we're thinking about, what we're eating. So one of the things my mom mentioned earlier is eating too fast, right? There's people that just gobble everything
yeah.
down.
I've watched, I remember watching a coworker of mine, and she's eating an apple and it's like 2 chews and it's down, and I'm like, wow. I feel sorry for her stomach,
Yeah.
because and for her, because she's really not getting the nutrients
Yeah.
that she needs, that should start breaking down
In
from
her
inside
mouth.
her mouth.
Yeah. So we want to chew our food, and we want to chew it slowly, because like my mom said, digestion starts in our mouth. So as you're chewing, the enzymes are being mixed with the food and they start breaking it down from your mouth. So we want to eat slowly. We already mentioned eating on the go. That's no good. Overeating is another thing. Just want to ensure that everyone mutes their microphone, please. Thank you. Overeating. I heard this example. Someone said, think of a blender, right? If you pack a blender really full, really, really full to the brim, nothing's gonna happen.
No.
So it's the same thing with your stomach. If you pack your stomach with a whole bunch of food, it's gonna be hard for it to move around and churn it. So we don't want to be overeating. I know they say eat until you're 80% full, and you're like, how do I know when I'm 80% full? It's kind of just something you have to figure out. If you realize that you're full after you're eating, tomorrow you're like, okay, let me scale back, eat a bit less, and see how I feel. All right, because we don't want that full feeling to the point where you can't walk, you can't get up, you have to undo your button or your belt or whatever you're wearing.
That's no good.
That's no good.
Yeah.
We talked about eating meals close together, eating between meals. So we talked about a large evening meal. So we don't want to have a large meal in the evening, right? So we want to eat, our last meal should be 3 hours before bedtime, right? And if you have to eat, it should be something light and something that's going to digest
quickly.
Yeah.
So nothing, no nuts,
Yeah.
no nuts at night, because that's not going to digest quickly.
Yeah.
And vegetables take longer to digest than fruits. So your best bet is fruits, maybe some applesauce on a slice of bread.
Yeah.
No peanut butter on bread at night, or any other butter
Like
on
nut
bread.
butter. Yeah.
None of those.
Last week we talked about spoiled foods. We don't want to be eating spoiled foods that can disrupt our digestion.
As you mentioned spoiled foods, fermented food came to my mind, and we don't want to do that either.
No.
So a lot of people think that the vinegar, what's that vinegar? That vinegar is apple cider vinegar is good, and it's fermented and it's not good. And recently I heard someone saying that it's okay to have kombucha. No, that was the first time I was hearing that name, so I had to go look it up. And it is fermented.
Yeah.
So we don't want to have anything fermented. It should not be in our stomach at all.
Yeah. And the other thing is, when things go bad in your stomach, it's fermentation that's happening. So when fermentation happens in your gut, you release these gases, and the gases are what cause you to belch or fart. They also cause bloating. So if you're eating food that's already fermented,
Mhm.
right? On
Then
top
it's,
of fermentation you already have, it's not a good combination.
and
Right?
I think I heard someone saying that vinegar is worse than alcohol, because vinegar is
It's fermented
fermented alcohol.
alcohol, right?
So
And we know
taking,
that alcohol isn't good for us anyway.
that's right.
Yeah.
So if you're taking vinegar, then you're taking
A form of alcohol.
a form of
Yeah.
I mean, it's really worse than alcohol. So
Yeah. Yeah. So those are just a couple things. Oh, and then spicy foods.
oh, a lot of
Spice.
us love spicy foods. That too is really not good for digestion.
Yeah.
It causes even inflammation. Some of us we're having arthritic pain, and those things are, we should ensure that our foods or food is it's tasty,
Yeah.
but not spicy.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to be eating. So we're talking about peppers now, hot peppers. I don't want to be eating and sweating
Yeah.
or have my tongue on fire or needing to drink water. And imagine if it's doing that in your mouth, it's doing that along your entire
Yes.
digestive tract.
Yeah.
And that can cause damage all the way down.
All the way down.
Yeah.
And someone will say then, so what about cayenne pepper? Cayenne pepper would do the same thing, but cayenne pepper is you take it for medicinal purposes.
Yeah.
And the book Back to Eden, a lot of information is in there on cayenne pepper. And according to the doctor who wrote that book, he said that you cannot overdose on cayenne pepper.
Yeah.
So you cannot put cayenne pepper in the same
Category
as the like a Scotch bonnet pepper.
Yeah. But we're only using it medicinally, not,
Yeah.
with our food.
Right. And
Yeah.
you're not cooking the cayenne pepper. You're just eating it. If you're going to take it, you're taking it with some water, or you mix it in some applesauce, or you crush it in some squash or something.
Yeah.
But not as, you're not cooking it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Someone saying you can substitute lemon for vinegar. Yes, that's right.
Right.
Another question from Pat. What are your thoughts about drinking chlorophyll and water in the mornings? Water is very good to drink in the mornings. What I would want to know is why are you drinking chlorophyll? Chlorophyll is the green pigment from plants. And so I would want to know, why are you taking the chlorophyll?
As opposed to
eating your greens,
Yeah.
right? Because it's important to find out why people are doing things, instead of just saying, no, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It's important to find out why. So, Pat, I'd love to know, why are you drinking chlorophyll instead of eating your greens? Is it that you feel like you're not digesting your greens properly? I wouldn't say it's essential. Chlorophyll instead of lemon and water, stomach issue. Well, if you can't tolerate lemon, then of course don't drink the lemon. But my follow-up question would be, what is the chlorophyll doing? Right? We want to get to the why. Why are you doing that? But time is running out, and we have our questions to get to. So let's go. Should I start with mine?
No, just before you go to your question, I just want to mention there are times when it is best that we do not eat.
Okay. When are those times?
Well, one such time is when we are when we're on the go, when you're gonna be working and eating, then it's best that you do not eat. And to be honest, to those years when I ate at my desk, I would pray, Lord, I know that I'm not supposed to be doing this. Please get me out of this situation.
Wow.
So, it's best that we do not eat at times like those. There are other times when we're sick and you just don't feel like eating. Then it's best that you maybe drink as opposed to eat, and that will be better for the person than for them eating, and it will do their stomach good as well. Yeah.
We also didn't even get to talk about like smoothies and juices and all that stuff, but we can save that for another time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Does anyone have any questions though?
Any other
A
questions?
last minute question. Is it okay to squeeze lemon juice on my vegetables? Yes. Yes, you can. That's good. Any other questions before we get into our 2 questions that we have here? Are you ready with your question?
Yes, I am ready with my question.
Do you want to go
While
first?
we are waiting, I just want to remind you that that we will put the information on Facebook for those who have Facebook, and also on YouTube. And if you do have now, I don't know if it's, maybe there are persons on who would want to answer the question, but they cannot type in the chat. And I don't want to limit those persons. And by the way, the person who won last week, one of the question, that person is given their opportunity for a 15-minute consult to someone. And if someone is on the call now and they would want to do a 15-minute consultation, then we can give you that one from the person last week. Okay. Now, my question is,
Okay.
here we go.
All right.
And it is, what is the topic of discussion tonight? What's the
That's
topic?
so easy.
Yeah. What's the topic of our discussion tonight?
Oh my.
Nutrition.
It's related,
No,
but that's not the.
What's the topic of our discussion for tonight?
That's not the title.
Oh, I can't live without you.
Oh, but someone else typed it in before you said it. Auntie
Okay.
Mitzi typed it in. Oh no, she said I can't do without you.
Oh no, and the
Oh,
next
no.
person says you can't live
Live
without
without me. Try again, guys. You're so close. You're so close. You're so.
Wow.
Wait, what did Sister Dorothy say?
I can't live without you.
Oh yeah. You won, Sister Dorothy.
Okay, and I
Oh,
see
my.
I see Mitzi said me, so I will give the one from last week, which is from Hazel. She's willing to give it to anyone who wants it, so that one we will give that one to Mitzi. And now for Donisha's question.
And so we're giving yours to Sister Dorothy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So my question now.
So let me just
yeah,
make
write
a
it
note
down.
of that so I
Yeah.
don't forget.
Okay. So my question is, when the food is in your stomach for 4 hours, what percentage is left in your stomach after 4 hours? Let's see if anyone was paying
Okay.
attention.
Dun, 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 dun.
42? 42?
No, not 42, not 40
40.
either. Remember, after 4 hours, so 4 hours have passed. So would there be a greater percentage or a smaller percentage?
Smaller.
I'm saying 25. No, still not.
Keep
Still not there.
going.
19.
Ah, 2.
2%. You're
Ooh.
close. You're close.
Try again, Louis. Try again.
5%. You're going too far. 1%.
1%, Enrica.
It's 1%. And Enrica.
Very good. Very good.
Okay. So Enrica, you have won the second one.
Okay.
And
there's a raised hand, Christine. So I have unmuted you, Christine. Did I? Okay. So you can go ahead, Christine.
Oh, I just answered the question. 1% is left in your stomach after 4 hours of eating.
You know what? I will add your name as well. And Christine. Okay. So now we need to know how to get in touch with you, with each of you. Christine, I'm not sure if you, some persons are not really into putting their email address out or their number, but if you don't mind, you could put it in the chat for us. Other than that, oh, you know
Or
what?
we
I'll
could
put
put
my
our
number.
email.
Yeah, I'll put our number and our email in the chat, and then
Which
you
number?
can then you can contact us. So I'm gonna put the cell number and the email address as well.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
Yes, okay. All right. Thank you, Christine, for participating. Thank you, everyone, for
Mhm.
participating. And we look forward to next week. And next week, we will again look at I can't live without you. Can you
Without me?
imagine? Without you? You know I can't live without you, but you're not the only one I can't live without, all right? So
oh my.
next week, and come prepared to participate. We
Yes.
we don't want, it's health talk. So we don't want to be the only one talking.
Mhm.
So we want you to talk back. And
Yeah.
while you cannot talk to us as we, as we're talking, but we do give you the opportunity to use the chat and or to raise your hand. Thank you so much. I wish for you a wonderful rest of the week.
Yes.
And look forward to seeing you again online next week, when we will have another interesting topic for you.
Yes.
Okay. So
All right. Let's close with a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this evening, and thank you for the opportunity to share with our friends and family on this Health Talk Zoom chat. Dear Lord, we pray that you'll be with everyone, be with us now as we separate. May we all have a good evening and a good night's rest. And I pray that we will enjoy the rest of the week, and that you will bring us back next week so that we can learn more truths. And I pray that we will each invite someone so that we can all learn together. This is my prayer. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. And just to let you know, if you were not on last week, and there was this handout that we gave out, you can also contact us and we will send you the handout from last week as well. All right. And our contact is in the chat. You can always contact us by email, or my phone number is there as well. And yeah,
that's it. Oh, don't forget to, if you would like to check out last week's video, it's on Facebook, and we will be putting it on YouTube, and we'll let you know as well. All right. Is that it?
Yes.
All right. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. We would like handouts for 2 weeks. Okay. All right. So someone